Hello guys, I am recording today. I'm kind of sick, so I'm sorry if it's kind of distracting of my voice. But today I wanted to read a 5-minute Marvel Spider-Man stories. My sister got this like a year ago, and kind of wanted to like read it for a while now. But yeah. The story of Spider-Man. Peter Parker was an average teenager who went to Midtown High School in New York City. He lived in Queens with his Aunt May and Uncle Ben, until he was accidentally bitten by a radioactive spider. He was just like everybody else. In fact, he had it harder than a lot of other kids did. Peter was very studious and one of the most smartest kids in his school. But he wasn't very athletic and was often bullied by the kids at Midtown High. One bully always seemed to find Peter and torment him. This bully was Flash Tomlinson. "Hey, you dropped your books," Peter heard Flash say to him as he walked down the hall. "No, I didn't," Peter replied. Flash pushed him to the ground and Peter's papers fell around him. School might have been tough for Peter, but he was happy at home. He was loved by his Aunt May and Uncle Ben. Peter's uncle, Ben, would always tell Peter that he was going to do something special with his life. Also, I'm sorry if I mess up when I read. I just have a problem reading sometimes. But we'll continue. "You are so smart, Peter. You can do anything." "Thanks, Uncle Ben. I just want to be a scientist," Peter would say humbly. "A scientist is a very important job." "Peter, science is power. And you should always remember, with great power comes great responsibility." "You say that all the time, Uncle Ben. How can I forget?" Then one day, Peter's life changed on a school trip to the science hall. Peter was excited to see the scientists at work. He was so distracted by the exhibits, and he didn't even notice a spider pass through radioactive waves and head towards him. The radioactive spider bit Peter, and he hadn't a clue what an amazing impact this would have on his life. Peter Parker would never be the same. After the bite, Peter adopted many characteristics of a spider. He would cling to walls, he was very strong, and also had spider senses. This meant that Peter was able to detect things that were going to happen. These skills made Peter very powerful. Peter wanted to keep his identity a secret. He created a costume. Peter worked hard to figure out how to use these new skills. Using his chemistry set, he made webs and tried shooting them into his bedroom. "This is tougher than I thought," Peter said to himself. "But once I get the hang of this, I will be able to do great things." Like all teenagers, Peter wanted to make money. He put on his new Spider-Man costume and started wrestle for cash. Since he had all these powers, he could beat all of the other wrestlers. One night after a fight, the place where Peter wrestled was being robbed. Since Peter and the owner didn't get along, Peter didn't help the owner catch the criminal. Later that night, when Peter got home, he found out that a robber killed Uncle Ben. Aunt May was devastated, so was Peter. The police officers told Peter not to worry. They had the criminal cornered at an old warehouse. Peter excused himself and went upstairs. Oh. Peter suited in his Spider-Man costume and swooped over the city. He was determined to avenge his uncle. At last, Peter arrived at the warehouse. The thief was stunned. Then Spider-Man sprang into action. As Spider-Man shot a web and trapped it Kirk, he got a good look at him and realized that it was the same criminal he had let escape from the wrestling match. If only he had stopped him then. If only he had not acted so selfishly. Peter vowed to help others. He would never let anything like this happen again. Just a month ago, he would have been busy studying in his bedroom at Aunt May and Uncle Ben's house, and not know. Peter remembered the words that his Uncle Ben always used to say, "With great power comes great responsibility." Uncle Ben was his role model. The next day, the kids at school started to talk about Spider-Man, and Peter listened to them in the halls. "I think he's okay," Flash said as he looked at an article about Spider-Man. "He's just trying to help the city." If only Flash knew that Peter was Spider-Man. That night, Spider-Man heard about a criminal on the loose in Manhattan. He swung across the bridge into the streets to fight the villain, who was trying to rob a store. Spider-Man felt confident because he had worked very hard at perfecting his abilities. He caught the criminal. Sure, Spidey was getting lots of attention, but for Peter, it wasn't about money or fame, or any rewards his power could give him. Peter wanted to help others. Peter Parker might seem like your normal teenager, but there is a part of him that makes him extremely special. He is a superhero and can scale buildings and spin webs. He is the amazing Spider-Man. Okay, I'll read one more, and then we go. This one's called Beware the Vulture. Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy were eating sandwiches and enjoying the sunny day on the great lawn in Central Park. "Isn't this so relaxing, Peter?" Gwen asked, and then pointed at the blue sky dotted with clouds. "You couldn't ask for a more perfect day." And she was right, until Peter's spider senses started to tell him that trouble was brewing. Peter looked to see the vulture soaring over Central Park. Peter threw over his water bottle in an attempt to distract Gwen. He was also looking for an excuse to get away and change into Spider-Man. "Gwen," Peter coughed, "I need more water," and off he went to save the day. Meanwhile, at Stark Tower, billionaire inventor Tony Stark has just come back from testing his new Iron Man armor. "How was the ride?" his assistant Pepper Potts asked. "Excellent," Tony replied. "It's fast and powerful. It took a lot of work, but I'm glad I did it. Of course, I'm already thinking of ways to improve it." "We need to make sure it's secure," Pepper told him. "You never know who might try to steal it." But before she could finish her thought, they saw a vulture fly by the large glass window. "You're always one step ahead, Pepper," Tony said, looking out the window. "Looks like we have a visitor." Just then, the alarm started to sound throughout Stark Tower. "We need to protect the armor. If the vulture gets his hands on it, he'll be as powerful as Iron Man," Pepper shouted. "I've got it under control," Tony reassured her. As he rushed off, and when he entered the lab, the vulture was already there. "You outdid yourself, Tony," said the villainous vulture. "I can't wait to fly through the skies in this. Everyone would think I'm Iron Man." "Never," Tony yelled as the vulture flew towards him, ready to attack. Without his armor, Tony was just a regular guy, and fighting the vulture was next to impossible. The vulture was wearing his electromagnetic suit, which gave him super strength and allowed him to fly. But just as the vulture was about to attack, a voice called out from behind him. "Back off, vulture!" Spider-Man yelled as he swung towards the vulture and delivered a mighty kick to the chest. "Nice work, Spidey," Tony called out as he ran towards his Iron Man armor to suit up. Oh my god. As he ran towards his Iron Man armor to suit up. Spider-Man battled the vulture, but it was time for the armored Avenger to join the fight. The vulture quickly got to his feet and he crashed through the window in an attempt to escape, but Spider-Man was too fast for him. Spider-Man ran up to the side of the building and fired a web right at the vulture. It was a direct hit. The vulture flew away to the top at top speed, lifting Spider-Man high into the air. Then a red and gold blur rocketed into the sky above them. It was the invincible Iron Man. "I've got it right from here, Spidey," Iron Man said as he fired a repulsor blast at the vulture. "Thanks, I am," Spidey said as he shot a web at the nearby spire and swung out of the way of the blast. On the roof, Spider-Man and Iron Man teamed up to battle the criminal. Spidey shot webs as Iron Man blasted repulsor beams. The blast weakened the vulture as he tried to fly away from the duo. "Getting tired?" Spidey asked. "Never," the vulture replied. "Time to clip your wings, vulture," Spidey said as he fired more and more webs at the villain. "You should know that crime doesn't pay." Iron Man landed on the rooftop just as Spider-Man finished whipping up the vulture. You've not seen the last of me," the vulture shouted. "I'll break free and then you'll both pay for this." "You're not going anywhere, vulture, except to jail," Iron Man said. Later, after the police had taken the vulture away, Iron Man fired his rocket boosters and blasted into the sky. "Thanks for the assist, Spidey," Iron Man said to the wall crawler. "I've got to get back to Stark Tower to fix the security system. And I've got to get back to Central Park," Spidey said to himself after Iron Man flew away. Gwen must be wondering what happened. "You're back," Gwen said, excited to see Peter. "What took you so long?" "It took me forever to find a working water fountain," Peter told Gwen, leaving out the part where he turned into Spider-Man and teamed up with Iron Man to defeat the vulture. "The sun is so strong, Peter. Bet you're glad you got some water," Gwen said. "It's one of those days where you just want to sit and relax." "I couldn't agree more," Peter said with a smile. Alright, we'll just leave it off from there. That's about it, and thank you for watching this. I'm sorry for the delay. I've been really busy with school and some school events, and I'm pretty sure I'm gonna be busy for the next 2 weeks because some school stuff. But thank you for watching, and I hope you guys stay safe and take care of yourself. Bye.